Good evening. Welcome to another episode of the show presented by Kala. Our sponsors for the show are Let's Talk. Let's Talk are a mental health care startup creating safe spaces through shared journeys. We are also excited to announce that we will be sharing details for the next edition of the Kala Literature Awards in the coming few days. This year, we'll be adding a few more categories to the awards. Those interested to join our literary journey of Kala Literature Awards through sponsorships may please connect with me on my email sanjaychandra59@gmail.com sanjaychandra59@gmail.com. Back to the show. Our moderator this evening is Vardhan. A quick introduction of Vardhan. Vardhan quit his corporate job and now pursues his diverse creative passions. He writes blogs, he is learning Sanskrit, he is studying the Bhagavad Gita. He is also an avid photographer and enjoys cooking. That's Vardhan for me. Now about the guest. Khushboo wields the scalpel as a glaucoma surgeon. She works with words as an author and spoken word artist. She was shortlisted for the Asian Review Prize for Short Story Fiction 2024. She was longlisted for the Commonwealth Short Story Prize 2025. She is the winner of several prestigious literature awards. Her monthly column, Out of Scope, is set to debut on the CheckUp Magazine. Khushboo's debut novel, The Mildly Chaotic World of Chickeny, was released worldwide in November 2024. The novel is a disquietingly dystopian yet scathingly satirical tale filled with whimsical puns that will jolt you out of your indifference. What if animals ruled and humans were treated like cattle? Welcome to Little Town, where Chickeny, a bespectacled, that's the cover of Chickeny for you. Chicken with googly eyes enjoys an idyllic life until a factory farm conglomerate takes over his land and seizes his pet homin family, Adam, Eve, and Apple. Can an ordinary chicken spark a revolution against exploitation? So that's Khushboo's debut novel. Let me also tell our viewers that the episode is also recorded and will be shared on my YouTube channel, Sanjay Chandra 5376, SANJAY CHANDRA 5376. Ladies and gentlemen, I now hand you over to Vardhan and Khushboo. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show presented by Kala and sponsored by Let's Talk. Over to you, Vardhan.
Okay. So, namaste to all our viewers in Bharat and outside of Bharat. Welcome to yet another edition of the show. We have a very interesting guest today, Khushboo Shah. And let me just put it this way, that the book that she has written is something which I found extremely interesting and completely a different concept altogether. So welcome to the show, Khushboo.
Namaste, Vardhan. Thank you for having me over.
Thank you. And let's begin our conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. So, technology is making a huge change to our lives today. In fact, almost every day there is something new that is happening in technological world, and it is impacting us tremendously. So, what is it that is changing in the world of writing, and how is it impacting the profession of writing? Is it making writers a better authors than what it used to be earlier?
I think we all agree that the biggest, whether for good or whether for bad, the single biggest technological upheaval which is right now happening is having AI in writing, artificial intelligence in writing. Because AI can, in a matter of click of your snap of your fingers, churn up an entire novel. And so now, is it good? Is it bad? I don't think there can be an answer to whether a dragon is good, fire-breathing dragon is good, or a fire-breathing dragon is bad. It is just that if that dragon is helping you escape, it is good, and if it is attacking you and is flying behind you, it is bad. So I think that also holds for artificial intelligence. But considering that it is here to stay, and considering that it is only going to get faster, more updated, more human-like, the only way we have is to accept it and work our way around it, and if possible, use it to make ourselves better as writers. So that being the situation, I think technology, especially with artificial intelligence, it can help us refine our research a lot more. So I think when I started writing, initially when I used to write my short stories and I used to research, you would generally use a search engine to research. You used to use Google or whatever the search engine be. And you research on any topic. Either you find books which are related with it, or you find research articles which are related with your topic of interest, or you find news clippings which are related, you find documentaries. And then you have to entirely go through them. It is a time-consuming process. A lot of time, the content happens to be one which you do not require. So there's a lot of filtering which is needed at your end. With artificial intelligence, we can shorten that. We can have all the information we need in a digested form already, as an abstract. So that is a good thing. But I believe we must refrain from falling in the trap of asking the AI to write for us, because ultimately it has a very generic kind of voice, and there is a total loss of individuality. So I think it's a double-edged sword, and time will tell us how best we are able to navigate with it.
Perfect. I think what you said makes immense sense. Is that technology is there, and it is for us to decide whether we make use of that technology or we run away from that technology. It's going to be there. The elephant is in the room.
Yes. We might as well address it. Yes.
Yes. So tell me one thing, is that this is a question which I have been asking many. Is writing an inspiration, or it's a perspiration, or it's a combination of both?
So I will put it this way. When I am writing, pure writing, I think it is inspiration. As far as I can only talk about myself. So it is pure joy, pure inspiration, and the best feeling in the world. The marketing is entirely perspiration, very less inspiration, and I have to inspire myself every day to want to post anything on social media at all, because for some reason I seem to have this feeling that I want to be so famous. I want to win the best awards. I want to win the Booker Prize. I want to win everything. I want people to know each and every of my books and sell a billion copies of my books. But I do not want people to know that I am the one who is sitting in the corner in the cafeteria. So it is a very difficult situation. And I think marketing is all perspiration in my case. Yes.
Okay. So do you write for yourself, or you write for your audience or your readers?
I think I write for my audience, because it is not just about writing. I've always been a performer, so a storyteller. So it is always for the audience. I think it is for the audience, yes.
when is it that first time you realize that what you write is what people like to read?
Okay. So I would write even as a teenager, but I never showed it to anyone at all in the world. But the first time I put out my writing was on social media during COVID, because that was the time when a lot of people had professionals had a lot of time at hand, and they turned to the arts, and so did I. And I put it out on a few social media platforms, creative writing platforms, Penmancy being the most, write read support. There's a group on Facebook, so that was the one I started with, and I found so many like-minded people over there, and people started liking what I write. And then I realized that people started pointing out that I have a unique voice and I do humor well, and things like that. Then I started winning prizes. So I started writing for other platforms as well. And then the accolades kind of started rolling in, but more importantly, the appreciation started coming in. So then that is when I realized that after 30 years of writing, I realized that, okay, so I actually write things which others might want to read. So that is how it started. Yes.
So I think the biggest unintended benefit of COVID is that it provided so many artists and so many writers to the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So now let's come to your writing journey and your first book that you have written. I found that book very interesting and completely different and refreshing thought process and idea. How is it that you came about this particular subject and this idea, the title, the names of the characters? All of that I found something which is really interesting. I thought I will ask you your thoughts on that.
So, Vardhanji, I was reading a non-fiction book. I was listening to the audio book. It is called "Why We Love Dogs." We eat pigs and we hate and we wear cows. Yes. Why do we love dogs, eat pigs, and wear cows? This was sometime in 2023 January, and while reading that, I suddenly so far I have been born and raised in a vegetarian family as it is, which is the case with 90% of Gujaratis. But and so of all this while, I had believed that I was being extremely kind and gentle to all animals. Um, but when I read that book, I realized that was not the case. And the dairy industry, in essence, now is an extremely violent industry. Uh, Even if there is no frank slaughter involved in producing milk, there is a lot of cruelty that goes on because of the mass production, the scale at which it happens. And that has happened basically because our demand for not just milk products has increased so much, and so many other things. And then this is just about the dairy industry, but also about the other industries and about the other environmental implications, and a lot of health implications and a lot of other things. So I became aware of it when I read that book for the first time. But what struck me was that we are able to do all of this on all the species in the world. Humans are able to perpetrate all of this only because we happen to be more evolved intellectually. Because otherwise, physically, we are one of the weakest species. We are very less resilient. Every other species is stronger than we are, but still we are able to do this on them only because we happen to be at the top, and because we happen to be extremely greedy, which has happened with time. That we crave for so much of food which is not necessary to sustain us, but it is a luxury. Or we crave for so many materialistic pleasures which are only for luxury, and then the commercial industries tend to exploit this greed of ours for their own greed of money, and it keeps getting it expands so much to such a vast scale, and there is so much slaughtering. Just to throw one figure around, there are around only cattle, and not talking about the chickens or anything else. Only cattle, if we talk about, there are 80 million of cattle which are slaughtered every year. 80 million every year. Okay, and if you think about that, so the number of humans who lost their lives during the Holocaust, the Jews who lost their lives was 6 million. This is just to put into perspective. Okay, so that kind of a thing. So when I read that, I thought if I could show, if there were some fiction which could show if there was a reversal of these two roles, of all the species being so smart and of humans being so dumb that they are at the bottom of the food chain and they become the food, what would happen? So that was my thought when I wrote the book. But I realized that just plain writing that kind of a book in literary fiction or thriller genre would make it extremely gross and I don't know, it might be a very difficult and difficult to digest kind of piece of literature. So I thought if I could show it in a satirical manner, we might be able to laugh at what we are doing wrong and we might be able to accept it in a better way. So that is how this book came.
Perfect. I think what you have said makes immense sense, is that we being at the top of the chain, we have actually exploited, and we call ourselves human, but I think we are the most inhuman people or the species on the earth. So coming to the title of the book, that title itself I found very interesting.
Yes, the mildly chaotic world of Chi Kenny. So
Yes.
Chi Kenny is from chicken. He's a chicken,
Yes.
so Chi Ken. So like that. So chicken. He is a very non-confrontational, mild-mannered, aam aadmi kind of a person who avoids an argument at any cost. Even if it means settling for less, even if it means suffering injustice, he will not speak up. But then the circumstances are such that he is forced to speak up because he realizes. So he lives in this world where, so he's a chicken and he has a mother who's called Ma Hen, and these two live on a farm. They have leased a farm and they have pet homins. Homins are the human counterparts of that world. Homins are ape men like humans who are brute-like. They do not have intelligence and they work just like cattle do in our world. And there's a pet family of homins. The male is called Adam, the female is called Eve, and they have a child who's called Apple. Now, it so happens that there's this whole dairy farm industry giant who takes over this farm and several thousands of acres of farm around it. And these homins also are a part of it, a part of the property. And so they end up being taken into the dairy farm. And now they are being reared there. So that is when Chi Kenny enters the dairy farm, and he's given a job as a clerk over there. So that is how he enters, and then he notices what we do to all these homins, because all this while he used to treat like how we treat our dogs in our families or our pets. We treat them like family. We give them our surname. We make food which they would like, and we know their food preferences and we know their moods. But that is not the case with the food we eat. So for the first time, Kenny realizes those things. And then he tries to go about sensitizing the system and realizes that everyone knows everything and everyone is just trying to ignore the ugly facts. And ultimately, because his pet, Adam, somehow ends up, while his pet Adam himself has to suffer a lot at the hand of the dairy industry, but still he ends up being a victim, and everyone is thirsting for his blood. And everyone is demanding that this pet is very aggressive and this animal must be killed. So Chi Kenny then goes to court to save his life. And in the process, he also ends up, opening the Pandora's box and everything which has been such a secret all this while. Because Chi Kenny happens to be an employee, he's able to spill the secrets, and the world gets to know how it is inside that dairy farm, and also inside all the dairy farms which exist in our world as well. So this is the kind of story which goes on. So it is obviously immensely very, very chaotic, and there's a whole new world with so many animals with such funny names. It is utter chaos, but because it's a satire, so it is mildly chaotic in the title. And there are all these pigs who work in the slaughterhouses and sows who work over there, and they have their own worker union. They are themselves underpaid and overworked. And there's a lawyer who is trying to fight. She's a hippo. Her name is Pi ST. There are other immensely lovable characters.
No, of course, I think it's such a thought-provoking subject that you have chosen for your first book, and the way you have written is really absorbing. Is that it's very difficult to put down the book. As I have read it, and I think in a couple of days I will complete it. But I must compliment you for actually selecting this topic, and it's something which is very important. Is that for all of us to know that what are we doing and what are we up to, and if the role reversal happens, then what is it that we are going to end up with? So my compliments to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And maybe our viewers would definitely love if you can read one passage from the book.
Absolutely. So while I pick out the passage, the very first page of the book says something which is exactly what you also said, because this is not about turning vegan or about because that is not the answer to all problems in the world anyway. So, but this is about knowing what is exactly going on and then making sensible choices every single day, every single moment, and choosing purpose over guilt in whatever choice, purpose over greed in whatever choices we make. So the first line says, because knowing is important, whatever choice you make. So that was my purpose of writing the book. I will read out a passage. It is the very first. It is the prologue of the book. Because this book happens to have an entire new world and a lot of new characters. If I were to read a passage which is from between, there might not be adequate context. So I will pick the very, very beginning of the book. It is from the viewpoint of a narrator who is a ghost, who has he has moved from our world into another world, and he has somehow lost his way. So he says that I think, okay, so it goes like this. Do not ask me how I came to be there, because I do not have a straightforward answer. But I know the Department of Afterlife Universe Allocation made a blunder somewhere. How else would you explain why I landed there, in the middle of a world I did not know existed? My last memories were of being entangled in a mind-boggling jumble of tubes and guilt at the hospital in the intensive care unit. I must confess here that I am not a very bright man. So I often cannot make sense of things till much later. And I will tell you the story as is. I traveled where the winds took me and stopped where they dropped me. In retrospect, I see that those were the winds of change. Am I confusing you? Forget it. Just know my introduction to them was as abrupt as yours is going to be. But I understood a couple of things early on during my stay, and they helped. One, they could not see, hear, or feel me. And two, I could never unsee, unhear, or unfeel them.
Thank you.
That's it.
Very interesting, and I am very sure that it will prompt our viewers to read the book.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you know, this concept of ghost as a narrator is also something which I really found very interesting.
Yes. So when I generally plot out the entire book along with all the chapters, and then I start writing. So when I started writing, that thing was done. My choice of narrator at that time was a little bit of a query for me also, because I wanted somebody who will think from our viewpoint, from humans' viewpoint. But at the same time, that person must also be in that world and feel like he's the victim. He must feel for the victims who are the humans now. So how do I show that? There are two different worlds. So then I zeroed on this ghost who, because it's a ghost, it is already very whimsical, and that ghost has a very whimsical sense of humor. He says anything at any time, any point of time, and gets away with it. But then he ends up constantly correlating what he has, what he is watching in that world, and what he has seen back in our world, and that brings the the aspect of introspection even for the for the reader. So that is how I did. Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for such a beautiful book. Now let's come to your future plans. So what are your future plans? What is it that we should expect from you in next 12 months, in next 24 months?
So I have begun plotting my next book this month. So I generally work with very tangible deadlines because otherwise, with my profession and with other things, I tend to lose track of my path, and I end up meandering here and there. So I generally keep, I will write from this time to this time. I keep a deadline in mind, and then I start writing generally. So for the past 4 or 5 months, I have been researching on a topic, and I have zeroed in on a rough story. And right now I am plotting it, and then I intend to begin writing it. While I cannot tell you what it is exactly about, because that is one thing I've realized, if I start discussing it, I don't end up writing it. So I will not tell you the finer details about what it is about, but I can tell you that it will have lots of humor. It will not be as disturbing as this book is. It will be a lot more rooted it will be entirely rooted in our world. In fact, it will be about a very topical topic. It will be a very relevant current topic, and it will be full of humor, and it will have very entertaining human characters, no animals this time. And I hope it will catch the pulse of the readers this time as well.
That I am very sure it will. And the way you have described it is that now we are that much more curious, and we will be eagerly awaiting as to when your next book is going to be published. So, Khushboo, as part of our show, we also have a rapid fire round. I'm sure
Okay.
that I'm sure you are going to enjoy that.
Yes, right
Perfect.
away.
So, since you happen to be from city of Vadodara, my first question to you is that what is it that you like about Vadodara?
I think I like the compact size of the city the best. It is a very developed city. It is very cosmopolitan. All major industries are here. It has very good infrastructure, and at the same time, you can reach from one end of the city to the other end within 20 minutes. There is hardly any traffic. So I think that is the best part. It has advantages of the metro and the tier 2 or tier 3 cities at the same time. So I think that is the best part.
One thing that you would like to change about Vadodara?
The waterlogging, because of very bad civic planning and encroachment of properties, where there should have been a free flowing river. We do have this entire situation of flooding, which recently you must have seen last year also, where it did not really rain so much in Baroda, but because the river did not have a direction to move around, there was a lot of waterlogging. And we have this unique problem of crocodiles coming up at any possible point in our city and within residences and so on. So if however, that this was to be planned before the encroachment by the concrete jungle took place, but whatever remedial measures can be taken now would be what I would like to change about myself.
Okay. So, one book which you think you should have written?
Okay, so one book which was so good that I thought I should have written it.
Yes.
No. Then it would not remain. It would not remain so good because it was good because of the way that person who visualized it wrote it. In fact, there might be a few books which were not written very well, which I might have thought that maybe I should have written this book, but I cannot name them also. Which me to feel envy, which make me envy the writer's craft, and I feel okay. When will I begin writing like that? So there are so many books like that. But recently, from my recent reads, I read Gone Girl, and while it's a very commercial, I generally read slightly more serious fiction. But while it was a very big commercial success, I thought the writer was very well able to straddle that fine line between it being a very disturbing and crazy book and it being very entertaining. They were able to do it in a very nice way. So yes, it was whip sharp. It was good. Also, Frederick Backman's Anxious People, which I'm reading right now, happens to be a fantastic book. The wit is so amazing that I think, and the metaphors and similes are so funny that I keep thinking if I could write this way, it would be a boon. Yes.
So, on your Facebook page, you have said that you like to have puns. So, one most beautiful or interesting pun that you would like to share with our viewers.
In the book, the pun in the book.
Not in the book.
But I will share one which is in the book because I happen to think, and then later on, whenever I've had interactions with anyone, every single person has told me that this has been the best pun, and this is the one which made them laugh the most. So I will tell you about those. So there is this within the book there is a entire plant C, or the cattle raising plant, where they raise all these cattle and milk them, and there are so many pigs and sows who work there, primarily female pigs, sows who work over there. And I had to give each of them names because they play important roles in the story. But I realized that if I were to name them, Lakshmi and Mary and Lucy and Jyoti and all that, it would become very difficult because, first of all, there are so many species of animals, it would be so difficult. So I named them according to their personalities. So I named them So Kind, So as in SOW. So kind and so meticulous and so cruel and so vindictive and so on and so forth. So yes, that has been one fun which I really enjoyed because then I could use it. I could really take it forward and use it at so many places in the book. So yes.
I like that also. I liked it. The way you have named those characters is really good. The last question is that Khushboo in 2047 will be the 100 years of independence.
Yes, hopefully alive, kicking, healthy and kicking. Most certainly writing, or at least thinking about writing.
Perfect. I think you have won the round with 10 out of 10. And that was really interesting conversation that we had. And now let me hand you over to Sanjay to take the proceedings forward. Sanjay, over to you.
So your so reminded me, Khushboo. See, the Indian wedding cards always write chi, CHI,
Yes.
for the groom and SOW for the bride. So I hope there is nothing. You are not alluding to those chi and so.
I am absolutely going to use this to make one more promo for my book. This is absolutely fun. This is gold. This is gold.
Okay. So that was a very interesting conversation, Khushboo, and I really enjoyed myself, and I'm sure readers would also be enjoying themselves. So that brings us to the end of the episode of the show, presented by Kala and sponsored by Let's Talk. Once again, the episode was also recorded and will be shared on my YouTube channel, Sanjay Chandra 5376. I'll be sharing the link to the recording later in the day or by tomorrow. I would also remind the viewers to read Khushboo's book and share their reviews. That is the book,
Yes.
Mildly Chaotic World.
I've been lucky to have a lot of love from the readers, even though the topic is difficult. This book went into reprint 4 months after it got published and released. So that came as a very pleasant surprise to all of us. I hope our readers keep showering the same love on me. And if you haven't picked up the book, please pick up the book. I'm sure it is going to be a lot of fun and it will bring fresh perspective.
Certainly, yeah. So please do that. And And let me also remind you that we'll be announcing the next edition of Kala Literature Awards within the coming few days. We are going to be adding a few more categories to the awards. Those interested to be a part of the literary journey as a sponsor may connect with me on my email ID. Please also connect with me on my email ID, sanjaychandra59@gmail.com, sanjaychandra59@gmail.com, to feature on the show. We'll be back with the next episode of the show next Saturday. That is on the 12th of July. Watch out for the notifications. Goodbye and have a safe Sunday evening. Thank you all very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.